Hey team, welcome to another Building Better Baseball timeout. And in today's timeout, we're going to go over all of the baseball abbreviations or acronyms. And I'm going to go over the most popular ones and explain what they are and what they mean. I'm Coach Hart, and in these timeouts, I teach you the baseball rules and I teach you how to play the game. So let's dive into baseball abbreviations. There are abbreviations everywhere in baseball on offense and defense. Abbreviations are mostly used when recording stats in the game or on TV. So in the stat book, they have columns that are really small that they have to write in, so they do abbreviations there. And also on TV, they only have a small amount of space to do little blurbs or little words, so they use abbreviations on TV because they have such a small space to write in. Baseball uses abbreviations to easily refer to a longer term being discussed. For example, Major League Baseball is referred to as the MLB. They're just referring to a longer term being discussed. And in today's timeout, I'll be explaining the most popular ones and what they mean. So let's go into offensive abbreviations. The first one is AB. And AB, whenever you see AB, it means at bat. AB is used to identify how many times a player was up to bat. A little fun fact is a walk is not considered an at-bat. If a player had one hit and two walks in the game, that player's stats would only have one at-bat. Their stat line would be 1 for 1 because they got a hit, but then they would have with two walks because the walks do not count as at-bats. The next one is AVG. And AVG just refers to batting average. AVG is used to identify a player's batting average. A player's batting average is determined by the number of at-bats divided by the number of hits that they have. So all of the number of at-bats, no matter what they do, divided by the number of hits that they get is their baseball batting average. The next one, 1B, is a single. If you ever see 1B, that means the player who was at bat, they just got a single. 2B means double, 3B, triple, and HR means home run. They hit it over the fence, or an in the park home run. So HR means home run. XBH, if you ever see XBH, that means extra base hit. And extra base hit, all that means is anything more than a single. So extra bases, a single is one base. Any extra base, a double, triple, or home run, those are extra bases. So XBH means extra base hit. These are all the possible hits a player can have. A bunt for a base hit is considered a single in the scorebook. So even though the player did not swing, if they square around and bunt and they beat it out, that's considered a 1B. That is a single. BB is a base on balls, which is also called a walk. It's more commonly called a walk, but it stands for base on balls. IBB is an intentional walk, where the pitcher intentionally walks the batter for whatever strategic reason that they do. HBP is a hit by pitch, where the batter gets hit by the pitch. CI is catcher's interference. ROE is reached on error. And all of these are the possible ways a player can reach base without a hit. So all of these situations, the player was on base, they got on base, but they did not get a hit. These are all the ways that they can get on base without getting a hit. SH is sacrifice bunt. Even though it's not SB, SH is sacrifice hit. So that's a little confusing. A sacrifice bunt in the scorebook is considered SH, which really stands for sacrifice hit. SF is a sacrifice fly, so a sacrifice fly ball. And these are the two ways a player can sacrifice himself. So a sacrifice bunt, the reason you would do that is to get a player from first to second usually, or even second to third. So usually in the major leagues, you see a lot of pitchers square around to bunt, to sacrifice themselves, to sacrifice bunt. And what they're doing is they're just trying to sacrifice themselves and they want to get the runner to the next base. That's why they're sacrificing themselves. A sacrifice fly is usually when a player is on second or third, they want to hit the ball to the deep outfield in order to, if they're on third, score a run, or if they're on second, move them from second to third. That is a sacrifice fly, and it's usually to score a run from third if you have a runner on third. RBI is run or runs batted in. And a run batted in is when you're the batter and there's a runner on third, you get a hit, that runner comes in to score, you just batted that runner in. That is an RBI for you. An R means run scored. So the difference between RBI and R is an RBI is you hit someone else in with your hit. If you score a run, so if I'm on second base and a batter hits the ball and I score, then in the scorebook, that would be R for me. So if I batted it, it would be RBI. If I scored it, if I went in to touch home plate and I scored, that would be R. LOB is left on base. Left on base is basically if there's a runner on second or third or anybody on base and I make the third out, then that would be runners left on base. So if there's bases loaded and I get the third out, that would be 3 left on base, 3 runners left on base. These are the stats for when there are base runners and the batter hits the ball. So these are all the things that can happen when the batter hits the ball with runners on base. A few more for the offense. SLG is slugging percentage. Now, slugging percentage is different than batting average because it does not count walks or hit by pitches. So the only thing that it takes into account is your hits. The reason why it's called slugging is because extra base hits, so doubles, triples, and home runs, those count for more than singles do. So it's basically a determination of power, of a player's power. How much power, how much slugging percentage do they have? OBP means on-base percentage. Now this is different because this accounts for walks and hit by pitches. Basically, any time that you get on base, that counts towards your on-base percentage. And players who have a high on-base percentage, that's really good, even if they walk all the time, even though they're not getting hits, they're still getting on base. SB is stolen base, basically a player who steals a base. CS is caught stealing. So a runner tries to steal the base and they get caught stealing by the catcher. H equals hit. PA is plate appearance. So this is anytime you step up to the plate, that is a plate appearance. So this is different from an at-bat. Remember, a walk and a hit by pitch, that those don't count as at-bats. But a plate appearance, those would count towards plate appearances. And TB is total bases. So at the end of the game, at the end of the week, season, month, whatever you want to do, total bases is the amount of bases or the number of bases total that you have hit. Defensive abbreviations. Let's move on to the defense. E equals error, and that is basically when there's an easy play that the fielders just booted or they didn't get the out. That would be called an error. FPCT is fielding percentage. Now this is how many chances you have divided by the amount of outs that you get. So it's basically your fielding percentage accounts for errors. So if you have a 95% fielding percentage, that means that 5% of the time you make an error. DP and TP, which is double and triple play. A equals assist. Yes, there are assists in baseball. So an assist, for example, would be if there's a runner on second base and the center fielder catches a fly ball and the runner tags up and tries to go to third base, that center fielder throws it to third base and that third baseman drops the tag and gets the runner out. That center fielder would now get an assist. That is called an assist. O equals out. INN is total innings played. So this is usually for the end of the season, for the end of a game, whatever. INN, whenever you see that, that just means the total innings that the player has played. These are all the abbreviations used for fielders in the field. Pitching abbreviations. ERA, which is earned run average. So this is the average amount of runs that you let up whenever you pitch. APP is appearance. So this is usually for relief pitchers. When they get an appearance, you would see APP on their stat sheet. ER and UER, which is earned and unearned run. So basically, if a batter hits a home run, that is an earned run. That runner earned that run, and that pitcher gave up the earned run. But if it's an unearned run, let's say there's a runner on third with 2 outs, and there's a ground ball to the shortstop, and the shortstop makes an error, and that runner scores, that would be an unearned run because that third out should have been made. So that's the difference between earned and unearned, is whenever the third out should have been made or the out should have been made, that is an unearned run if someone scores and there's an error. SV is save, whenever there's a pitcher coming in relief or a closer, and they save the game. A save is whenever they're coming to a game and the game is within 3 runs. If the game is within 3 runs, so if it's 3-0 and you're coming in to save the game, that would be considered a save if you win. If it's 4 runs, that is not a save opportunity. So a save opportunity is within 3 runs. IP is innings pitched. It's pretty self-explanatory, just the number of innings that a pitcher has pitched. More pitching abbreviations. WHIP, which is whip, walks and hits per innings pitched. So it's pretty self-explanatory when you spell it out like that, right? It's the number of walks and the number of hits given up in the innings that a pitcher has pitched. W equals win, L equals loss. CG is complete game. So a starting pitcher went the entire game and pitched the entire game without any relief. SO or K is a strikeout. So a little fun fact, a swinging strikeout is a forwards K or a regular K, and a looking strikeout is a backwards K. So that's when a pitcher is having a really good game in the major leagues and you look up into the stands and somebody's hanging Ks and some of them are forwards and some of them are backwards. The forwards ones are swinging when the batters swung and they struck out. The backwards ones are looking when the pitcher just threw strike 3 and the batter didn't swing. So a little fun fact for you there. One bonus abbreviation for you is WAR or WAR, and this is wins above replacement. So I got this definition straight out of the MLB.com in the glossary. If you ever see the abbreviation WAR, it is WAR measures a player's value in all facets of the game by deciphering how many more wins he's worth than a replacement level player at his same position. For example, a minor league replacement or a readily available fill-in free agent. So for example, I think Mike Trout right now has the highest WAR or WAR in the entire league, which is basically saying that he is more valuable than any replacement that could ever take his spot in the field. He is more valuable to his team. He will contribute to more wins, more than his replacements, more than any other player in the whole league. Thanks for taking this time out with Building Better Baseball. Remember, I'm Coach Hart, and if you like what you saw and you want to learn more rules about the game, make sure you support the channel and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss a video, and tune in every week for the weekly Bullpen Bulletin, and I'll see you in the next time out.